My name is Chris Plummer. I am an adjunct to the Performing Arts Department. I'm also the co-founder and co-artistic director of the Rockland Shakespeare Company and a member of the Society of American Fight Directors. And I'd like to welcome you to this Night of Shakespearean Fights.
Yeah!
Now, I would ask those of you who are enrolled in the performing arts classes to come down from the top of the house. Okay?
Like
Everybody
I'm
else
the
that
line.
I don't have the power over of a grade can stay up there and sleep and do whatever they wish. All performing arts students, please come down. You will not have as good an experience up there, trust me. Okay? The action is here. So, this is going to be a very low-key, very informal demonstration and presentation, okay? We're gonna just have some fun here today. We're going to, hey Maggie, if you could just turn the house lights up to full, please.
Yeah, I'm losing. Where are you going?
I want to start the evening with a brief demonstration from the physical acting for the Stage 1 class.
Wait, Chris. Sorry.
I can't turn all the way around.
It was an 8 o'clock start, you know that, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Cut!
Sorry.
I didn't teach him that, he brought that in on his own, that's, yeah. Kyle Verdure, ladies and gentlemen. So before we get underway with talking all things Shakespeare and fight choreography, we'll just start with a brief demonstration from the aforementioned class. Curtain, please.
Woohoo!
On guard. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Pass forward. Pass back. Advance, advance. Thrust. Lunge. Recover back. Retreat. Pass back. Pass forward. Thrust. Lunge. Recover forward. Simon says Will is out.
Yeah. Sloppy.
Retreat! Retreat! Advance! Pass back! Advance! Advance! Pass back! Pass forward! Thrust! Lunge! Recover back! Retreat! I thought I said you were out, Will. On guard! Salute! Up!
Hey.
Salute!
Nicholas.
We just learned this backstage. Let's try one more time. On guard. Salute. Up. Salute. And salute. There we go, we're close enough. We've got some cuts on the floor and everything. Look at that.
Push-ups.
Thank you. Physical acting for the stage class. Take a bow and exit the stage.
Alright, you can leave, Will.
Bye, Will.
He just doesn't want to leave. Okay, what you saw was some basic footwork skills that they learn in physical acting for the stage. Basic advancing and retreating, as you heard me calling out. Things that are necessary when dealing with many of the weapons we use in the society, but the ones you saw them holding were single swords, okay, or rapier. And that's what they were learning this semester, was single sword and rapier. You're going to see a lot of that tonight. You're going to see a lot of other weapons as well. But what I want to talk about a little bit is what we're doing here with Shakespeare, okay? Choreographing fight scenes for Shakespeare. We have some traditional scenes for you tonight. We also have some creative scenes that director's prerogative, which would be me, taking some liberties with the text. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about that as we progress through the evening. The Society of American Fight Directors is an organization that was built to kind of create standards in the theatrical community. Okay? Not unlike Shakespeare, okay, back in the Elizabethan times. Theater for many years just had, well, I know how to do it, this other guy knows how to do it, let's just do it. Oh, okay, that sounds a bit dangerous to me. The Society and the British Society came in and said, you know what, we gotta kind of get together and decide on some standards so that we don't keep, poking people's eyes out. And they did, and every year we have an annual Fight Master workshop here at Rockland Community College. It was really spectacular. A lot of schools in the world don't even do it, and we have one of the best professionals in the world coming here, Mr. Richard Ryan. He's a Fight Master with the Society of American Fight Directors and the British Society. He comes here every summer along with another Fight Master, J. David Brimmer, and they conduct workshops that culminate in a skills proficiency test. Okay, not unlike what we do in my class, except at the end they can be certified in the particular weapon that they're studying. We have another one coming up this summer with Richard. He's returning to RCC after a couple years on the road, so to speak. He's been a little busy working on The Dark Knight and Gulliver's Travels and
Sherlock
all those
Holmes.
other movies. He's doing Sherlock Holmes 2, which just wrapped. Will be out, I think, for Christmas. So Richard really is big time, so we're very lucky to have him here. I'll discuss that a little bit more later. But let's get back to the show. Let's get back to Shakespeare. Let's get back to probably the one play in the canon that has the most single sword fighting in it, the most sword stage combat, okay, choreography that needs to be written for a show in the canon, and that's Romeo and Juliet. So what you're going to see now, for those of you that remember 9th grade English or have continued on with your Shakespearean studies, this is the opening scene of Romeo and Juliet, where those boys, those pesky Capulet boys, they just can't not get into trouble. So enjoy the opening scene from Romeo and Juliet.
Gregory, oh my word, we'll not carry coals.
No, for then we should be colliers.
I mean, if we be in collar, we'll draw.
No, aye, for when we draw out thy collar,
I strike quickly being moved.
but thou art not quickly moved to strike.
A dog in the house of Montague moves me.
To move is to stir, and to be valiant is to stand. Therefore, if thou art moved, thou runnest away.
A dog of the house moves me to stand. I'll take the wall of any man or maids of Montague's.
That shows thee a weak slave, for the weakest goes to the wall.
True. And therefore, women being the weaker vessels are often thrust to the wall. Therefore, I will push their men from the wall and thrust his maids to the wall.
The quarrel is between our masters and us, their men.
'Tis all one. I will show myself a tyrant when I have fought with the men. Then I'll be cruel to the maids and cut off their heads.
The heads of the maids?
Aye. The heads of the maids, the maidens' heads. Take it with sense thou wilt.
They must take it in sense and feel it.
Me they shall feel while I'm able to stand. And 'tis known I'm a pretty piece of flesh.
Draw thy tool. Here comes two of the house of the Montague.
My naked weapon is out. Call, I'll back thee.
Hell, turn thy back and run?
Fear me not.
No, Mary, I fear thee.
Let us use the laws of our side. Let them begin.
I will fell as I pass by and let them take it as they
Ha,
list.
nay, as they dare. I will bite my thumb at them, which is a disgrace to them if they bear it.
Did you bite your thumb at us, sir?
I do bite my thumb, sir.
Did you bite your thumb at us, sir?
Is the law of our side if I say aye?
No.
No, sir, I do not bite my thumb at you, sir, but I do bite my thumb, sir.
Do you quarrel, sir?
Quarrel, sir? No, sir.
If you do, I am for you, sir. I'm as good a man as you.
No better.
Well, sir.
Say better. Here comes one of my master's kinsmen.
Yes, better, sir.
You lie!
Draw if you are men. Gregory, remember that flashing blood.
Art fools! Put up thy swords! You know not what you do! What? Art thou drawn among these heartless hinds? I do but keep the peace. Please, put up your sword or manage it to help these men part. Drawn and talk of peace. I hate the word as I hate hell, all Montagues, and thee. Have at the coward!
Down with the Capulets! Down with the Montague! Rebellious subjects! Enemies to the peace! Profaners of this neighbor's stained steel! Throw your mistempered weapons to the ground! And hear the sentence passed by this moving prince. 3 civil brawls, bred of an airy word by thee, Capulet, and Montague, have thrice disturbed the quiet of our streets. If ever you disturb our streets again, your lives shall pay the forfeit of the peace. Once more, under pain of death, all men depart!
Okay, thank you very much, guys. So, that was the opening scene from Romeo and Juliet, sort of. You know, during the Elizabethan times, it's very different being an actor, and especially being an actor combatant than it is now. The art has been so refined. Nowadays, as I mentioned, for instance, Richard Ryan, the fight arranger for some of those big movies and with the Society of American Fight Directors, nowadays, on film or on stage, that is a person that you will call, okay? You will hire someone to come and arrange a fight, choreograph a fight. The Elizabethans, they didn't do that. Shakespeare and his contemporary playwrights, they didn't do that. Those of you who have read Shakespeare know there's very little stage directions. They're usually just in the dialogue, okay? He intermingles into the dialogue. Of the few that he did write, or that someone wrote, we won't get into that debate, is they fight. And I could just imagine some of the actors, Richard Burbage walking over, who was one of his lead actors at the time, walking over and saying, you know, during Hamlet, and they were going through the Hamlet script and saying, you know, me and what's his name over here are playing Laertes. It just says they fight. What do you want us to do? I don't know. You're Hamlet. You're Laertes. You guys figure it out. I'm not a fight arranger. We don't have such a thing now, right? These people, a lot of them knew how to use a sword. They knew their way around it. So they got together and said, well, it's our part. Let's just go figure it out. And we know there's parameters. For instance, in Hamlet, there's 3 bouts. Okay, so they knew the outline of the story. They knew what they had to get done. So they just went and figured it out. Nowadays, we have an arranger. We have a fight choreographer, okay, which is a lot safer, too. And obviously, also, we're not using blunted real swords, we're using stage combat weaponry. So the swords that you see them using are designed specifically for stage combat. Now we're going to change the pace up a little bit here. Introduce a new weapon. You've seen single sword already. Well, I feel the need to see something fiercer, okay? So we're going to do a broadsword fight now from a different Shakespearean play. One that also is written for this type of weapon. So we're still staying traditional in our choreography and in our display here. This is a scene from, well, we're about to play it, so I guess I can say it. Macbeth.
Don't say that word.
Turn, hellhound. Turn. Lay on, Macduff. Damned be he that first cries, hold! Enough!
Thank you, gentlemen. Ken Nicholas and Patrick Birmingham, ladies and gentlemen. They're both advanced actor combatants with the Society of American Fight Directors. It's tough on stage. It's not a film where you can say, cut. How was that, Patrick? Let's do it again, right? It's not like that. It's very difficult. There's a lot of training, a lot of rehearsal that goes into this. And I want to give my own credit to the cast, because some of them joined us rather late and didn't have a lot of rehearsal, and they really stepped up. But like I said, Ken and Patrick actually are members of the society, and they're working their way up to the higher ranks, and they're at a middle rank right now, a very good rank, advanced actor combatant. So they have a little bit more experience with the various types of weapons than some of the other people you saw in the beginning, which are the intro class, the physical acting for the stage class, that have only learned one weapon so far, and that's single sword. Another weapon that we touch on, usually right in the beginning, so those of you who are they're in physical too, but physical acting for the stage part 1, we deal primarily with unarmed combat. So before we move on to our next scene, I want to call out another member of the Society of American Fight Directors, and she's an alumna from RCC as well, and she's going to help me demonstrate a couple of unarmed moves for you. Elizabeth?
Yay, Liz! Zoom out.
Now, unarmed, obviously, we don't have a weapon in our hand, but these are good enough. You can do a whole bunch with this stuff, right? So, unarmed fight, you have to be able to sell a lot of stage fights to the audience. And if you're in the round, wow, that's a hard sale. You guys are in a traditional precision march theater here, and you're watching us up there, so we can do things to try to make it more realistic by cutting off the angle and that type of thing. Liz and I are just going to show you a quick couple of things so we can move on to the next scene, which has some unarmed combat in it, so to speak. But if I were going to smack Liz, if I had a script and it warranted, let's say, what has a smack? Taming of the Shrew, doesn't it?
Yes.
Except she smacks him. Well, I'll play Kate and you play Petruchio. Because I want to smack, I don't want to be smacked. Actors that are learning this stuff, or that already know it, have a routine, they have a set, they know their choreography, they know how to get into position. What you want to be able to do, obviously, if you're in a scene, is play the scene and move into position within the context of the scene. The choreography shouldn't stand alone. The choreography accentuates the scene. It continues the story. It expands the story. All right? It's not its own independent entity. It's part of the story. So that's a big pitfall right away, is if a choreographer says, I just want to show everybody what I can do. Well, who cares? You know, we want to be entertained. We want to watch a story unfold. We want to watch fighting. We just go watch, you're out in the street, okay, like Romeo and Juliet. Go out to Verona, apparently they got a lot of them going on there. But this, okay, would just be to further the story. But we don't have a story right now. Liz and I are just going to show you, Liz and I are just going to show you some unarmed moves. And I think we'll just start off with just a smack across the face. Now this is an interesting setup here. This is called stacking, what I'm doing here. All right? Because we're stacking upstage. I'm upstage of her. It's also an interesting look because she's shorter than I am. Okay? If I were downstage and she was stacked up, you would not see her.
I can see her.
Until after she smacked me. But for this
demonstration. I'll do the back. You can see the whole thing. So you see the story here, and then you'll see it there. Okay. So for this one, we'll just go a good, strong smack across the face. First thing I want to do that I would have done with my partner is make sure she's ready.
So you
now,
throw
when
it
you're
at
on
us?
stage and you're in a show and you're performing a role. You're not going to go. So anyway, right, you have to be able to communicate silently to one another. What's the best way to do that? Your eyes. Right? All you have to do is. We're chatting. Just fine. So, eyes. Eye contact is vital, okay? It's the first step, okay, in making sure you're performing a safe fight. Her back's turned. She could be doing any number of things, making faces at me, you never know, okay? But if we were turned this way, and we're about to start a sword fight like Patrick and Ken just did, right? This communication has to happen here. Not even subtle, like, you see that, right? It has to just be here. You develop a routine, and that happens at rehearsal, okay? For this, we're just gonna, just an easy smack across the face. Actually, we'll hit it. Okay. Oh! Sit down. I heard a reaction there. That was good. So, something happened. There was some connection with the audience. Somebody believed something that just happened up on the stage. Do you see what all the elements that go into this? We had not only communication, but we had a timing issue. If I went to smack her and she didn't react in time, we could be telling a story, but our timing could be completely off. Sit down. Right? Not quite the same. Or she could go early. She could anticipate. What does that do? It ruins the entire moment, especially if it's a serious story. If it's a funny story, if it's high comedy, you can get away with it. Actually, that would probably be written into it. Okay? Or if she went the wrong way. Okay? So you get an idea. We could do this all night. I don't want to keep you from these stories. Okay? This next one is a comedy. It actually stars with. This next one is one of Shakespeare's most famous comedies. It's tried and true. People do love it. It's from Taming of the Shrew. And those of you that have read this or have seen it, you know one of the best moments in it is the first meeting of Catherine and Petruchio. It's interesting, first meeting. So let's see.
I will attend her here and woo her with some spirit when she comes. Say that she rail. Why then I'll say she sings as sweetly as a nightingale. Say that she frown. Why then I'll say she look as clear as morning roses newly washed with dew. If she do bid me pat, I'll give her thanks as though she bid me stay by her a week. If she denied to weigh, I'll crave the day when I ask the bands and when be merry. But here she comes. And now Petruchio. Good morrow, Kate. For that's your name, I hear.
Well, you have heard, but something hard of hearing. They call me Catherine that you talk of me.
You lie in faith, but your name is plain Kate, and Bonnie Kate, and sometimes Kate the Cursed. But Kate, the prettiest Kate in Christendom, Kate of Kate Hall, my super dainty Kate, for dainties are all Kates, and therefore Kate, take this of me, Kate of my consolation, hearing thy mildness praised in every town, thy virtue spoke of, thy beauty sounded, yet not so deeply as to thee belongs. myself am moved to woo thee for my wife.
Move! In good time. Let him that moved you hither, remove you hence. I knew you at the first you were unmovable.
Why, what's immovable?
A jointed stool.
Thou's hit it. Come, sit on me.
Axes are made to bear, and so are you.
Women are made to bear, and so are you.
Oh, no such jade as you with me, you mean.
Alas, good Kate, I will not burden thee, for knowing thee to be but young and light.
What? Life is such a swain as you to catch. It is heavy as my weight should be.
Should be. Should buzz.
Well, take it and like a buzzard.
Oh, slow-winged turtle, shall a buzzard take thee?
I, for the turtles, he takes a buzzard.
Come, you boss. In faith, you are too angry.
If I be waspish, best beware my sting.
My remedy is then to pluck it out.
I, if the fool could find it where it lies.
Who knows not where a wasp does wear his sting? In his tail.
Oh, in his tongue.
Whose tongue?
Yours, if you talk of tails himself, farewell.
What with my tongue in your tail? Nay, Kate. I am a gentleman.
That I'll try.
I will cuff you if you strike again.
So may you lose your arms. If you strike me, you are no gentleman. And if no gentleman, why then no arms.
A herald, Kate. Oh, put me in thy books.
And what is your crest? A coxcomb.
A combless cock, and therefore Kate will be my hen.
No cock of mine, you crow too like a craven.
Come, Kate, come. You must not look so sour.
'Tis my fashion when I see a crab.
Why, here's no crab. Therefore look not sour.
Oh, there is. There is.
Then show it me.
Had I a glass, I would.
Do you mean my face?
What aimed of such a young one?
Now by St. George, I am too young for you.
Yet you were withered.
'Tis with cares.
I can. Oh!
Nay, hear you, Kate. In sooth, you state not so.
I chafe you, my Terry. Let me go.
No, not a whit. I find you passing gentle. 'Twas told me you were
What?
coy and sullen. And now I find report a very liar. But there were pleasant, gamesome, passing, courteous, but slow in speech, yet sweet as springtime flowers. Thou canst not frown, thou canst not look askance, nor bite that lip as angry wenches will. Nor have to be crossing talk. Ooh, now with mildness entertainest thy wars, gentle conference, soft and affable. Oh, why does the world report that Kate doth limp? Oh, slanderous world! Kate, like a hazel twig, is straight and slender and brown its hue as hazelnuts, and sweeter than the kernels. Oh, let me see thee walk. Thou dost not halt.
Go, fool, in whom thou givest command!
Did ever a Diane become such a grove as Kate, this chamber with her princely Kate? Oh, be thou Diane, and let her be gate, and therefore let Kate be chaste and Diane sportful.
Where do you study all this goodly speech?
It's an extemper of my mother wit.
Oh, a witty mother?
Bless you.
Seltzer's son.
Am I not wise?
Yes. Keep you warm.
Mary,
Oh.
I mean, sweet Catherine. And therefore, setting all this chat aside, thus in plain terms, your father has consented that you shall marry me. Your dowry agreed on, and will you, I will marry you. Now, Kate, I am a husband for your turn. For by this light, whereby I see thy beauty, thou must be married to no man but me. For I am he am born to tame you, Kate, and bring you from a wild Kate to a Kate conformable of other household Kates. Here comes your father. Never make denial. I must and will have Catherine to my wife.
Okay.
Thank you, guys, Kyle and Liz. Thank you very much.
I lost it. Where'd it go? Aha! Found you.
This scene illustrates well what I was speaking about before, not having to do too much to say what you need to say. You can see how tiring it is, though. You see how the fights deteriorate. Now, sometimes you deal with people that are in excellent shape. Kyle is an ex-Marine, and you can see he's in really good shape. I have to check and see if he was really out of breath or he was acting, because sometimes we tell the actors, guys, the fights are supposed to deteriorate. You can't be not out of breath by the end of some of these things. So I suspect he was, though. I don't say anything, though. So, but they do. So a lot of times when my fight directors say that, I'm like, don't worry about it. I got that covered. It's tiring, okay? We'll do this. When we rehearse a fight like this, we'll rehearse some of these ad nauseum. We'll do it time and time and again. We'll do it sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day to try to get it right for you. So when you guys come in and sit down, you have a show to see. Now, that was a comedic scene. We're going to revisit now Romeo and Juliet. I told you the play is filled with sword fights. This one kicks it up a notch. For those of you keeping score or read this in the past, this is the part of the story that kind of, like the catalyst, if you will, for the tragedy. This is the moment where Mercutio and Tybalt meet their fate. So let's see the continuation of Romeo and Juliet.
Pray, Mercutio, it is hot and the Capulets are abroad. Let us retire.
Oh, thou art like one of those fellows that when he enters the confines of the tavern, claps me a sword upon the table and says, God, send me no need of thee. And, by the operation of a second cup, draws it on the drawer, when indeed there is no need.
Am I like such a man?
Oh, come, thou art as hot a jack in thy mood as any in Italy, and as soon moved to be moody, as soon moody to be moved.
By my head, here comes the Capulet.
Oh, by my heel, I care not.
Gentlemen, good evening. And a word with one of you.
And but one word with one of us? Couple it with something. Make it a word and a blow.
You shall find me apt enough for that, sir, and you give me occasion.
Could you not take some occasion without giving?
Mercutio, thou consortest...
Consort! What? Dost thou make us minstrels? And thou make minstrels of us? Look to hear nothing but discords. Here's my fiddlestick. Here's that shall make you dance. Zoons! Consort!
Talk us in the public haunt of men. The citizens are about, and all eyes are on us.
Men's eyes are meant to look, and let them gaze. I will not budge for no man's pleasure, I.
Well, peace be with you, sir. Here comes mine.
But I'll be hanged, sir, if he wear your livery. Marry, go before the field. He'll be your follower. Your worship in that sense may call him mad.
Romeo, the hate I bear thee can afford no better term than this. Thou art a villain.
Tybalt, the reason I have to love thee doth much excuse the appertaining rage to such a greeting. Villain am I none. Therefore, farewell. I see thou knowest me not.
Boy, this does not excuse the injury thou hast done me, therefore turn and draw!
I must protest I never injured thee, but loved thee better than thou canst devise, till thou shalt know the meaning of my love. And so, good Capulet, which name I tender as dearly as mine own, be satisfied.
Come, dishonorable, vile submission! Tybalt, you rat hatcher, will you walk?
would thou have of me?
Good king of cats. Nothing but one of your 9 lives. Meow. I am for you.
Mercutio, I must...
Come, sir.
This but begins the wall, others must end.
Here comes the furious Tybalt, back again.
Now, Tybalt, take the villain back again, thou late thou saved me. For Mercutio's soul put a little way above our heads, staying for thine to keep him company. Either thou, or I, or both, must go with him.
Thou wretched boy that did consort him here shall with him hence!
This will determine that.
There are citizens out, and Tybalt is dead. Go! Go! I am fortune's fool!
Thank you, gentlemen. If we could get some paper towel to clean up the blood effects. So, if you didn't notice, there's a little blood now on still out here.
Tasty. Yeah. I want some. Ah.
This blood concoction actually does taste good. Liz is going to come out and show me. Oh, get a mop. I need the Benny Hill music going on while he's doing it. Paper towel? Okay, so Liz and I are going to, while they're cleaning up the blood effects, we're going to show you how we did that.
Oh, I should be paying attention.
Liz has a little concoction here. Those of you who joined us in the fall for the blood workshop,
Liz.
already tasted it. Oh, God, it smells so good. I'll tell you why it smells good. Those of you who joined us in the fall for the blood workshop with Fightmaster J. David Brimmer saw this
Liz,
on a larger scale. He came in the fall and we did all sorts of blood effects. This was just a minor one. This is actually very easy to do. The ingredients here, there's all sorts of ways to make stage blood. This is a particularly good one because it's tasty. One year we did it, we had so much left over, we put it on like cupcakes and crumb cake that we had upstairs as just a topping. Liz, save some for later.
It's just so good.
The reason it's so good is it's made of peanut butter, carob syrup, chocolate syrup, and just a little bit of food coloring, little red and little blue.
It tastes like a Reese's.
It does. It smells and tastes like Reese's. It's really, really, really tasty. So the danger, you've got red on you. The danger that I've seen with this blood is when you do have this effect, you have some mouth blood, you have a little bit in your mouth and you have a smack or a punch and you get knocked out or something. I've actually seen actors with it. It's, and they're like, you forget. You're like, oh God, it smells so good because it's got that real strong peanut butter smell right there. But it is, we just mix that and you get the desired color you want because our arterial blood is going to look a little bit different because some blood's got that cherry red look to it. Some is darker. It's got a little blue tint. It's got the dark red. Liz has a little bag of goodies here. In Shakespeare's day, they wouldn't have mixed peanut butter and chocolate syrup, obviously. So they had other ways to describe effects on stage. They might seem stylized or, dare I say it, cheesy to our standards today. But there's one of Shakespeare's first tragedies, his actual first tragedy, Titus Andronicus, had lots of blood in it. Character Lavinia gets her hands cut off and her tongue cut out. And one way that we can illustrate that without having to go through a type of mixture, or they wouldn't have, the Elizabethans wouldn't have had, and without using real blood, which could be dangerous and smelly and sticky and all that stuff, would be something very simple, and that's fabric. Boom. Oh, right, it comes out. There's blood. Yeah, and we're going, wow, that sucked, right? No, it's just different. And the Elizabethans would have been like, oh, okay, there's blood, I get it. Right? It didn't take them out of the story. They get it. They equated the red ribbon with blood. Okay, so that's an easy way to create that in effect. And you still see it today, but it's usually a lot more stylized situations on stage. Nowadays, we want to see we want to see this stuff. Oh my God, this real thing. Fightmaster Brimmer, when he was here, those of you who did attend that workshop, he had just come off a play where they did this gun effect where the guy, one of the actors came down stage, we held the other actor with his head over the edge of the stage, put a prop gun in his mouth, pulled the trigger. And what happened was they had a blood cannon down here under this the audience didn't see. And they had it timed out, so when he pulled the trigger, they had this special gun that didn't, the sound effects was created off stage by a blank firing gun, just over off left. This gun had a light in the tip, so when he put it in the actor's mouth, a little light strobed. And at the same time, a blood cannon went off. Bang! And there was this brain matter all over the floor in the front row. So there's lots of cool stuff you can do with blood effects on stage. Thank you, ladies. That was good. Look at that.
Ladies and Kyle. Ladies and Kyle.
So how we created that little blood effect was actually just a very weak little plastic baggie, not a Ziploc, a plastic baggie. The old school ones, you have the ties, the twist ties. They're a little thin. And what we did is we just put some blood in the corner of it and then twirled it up so it was nice and tight. And Ken, who played Romeo, he had it in his pocket. And when you didn't see, your attention was deflected and you were watching the fight over here, he just reached in his pocket and he palmed it. He had it in his hand here. He had it wedged between a couple of fingers. And when he went up to pull Mercutio away, he just slapped it on him. Okay, and boom, oh! What's hurt under your arm? With peanut butter. Right? So that's how that effect happens. Simple, but sometimes very, very effective. So moving right along. The next scene, we talk about stylized. The next scene is particularly stylized. On the Elizabethan stage, the Globe Theatre, let's talk about the Globe, because that's the most famous of their stages, of Shakespeare's. You wouldn't be able to have whole armies, okay, like we do now in our feature films. And we go see movies like Richard Ryan worked on Troy, where there's these massive battles, right? They arrive on the beach, and there's these huge amounts of men fighting back and forth, and we can do that now. And a lot of times we do that now, you don't even need real actors. You have this computer-generated images on the screen, and it's thousands of combatants, and you can program them to fight each other. Well, the Elizabethans obviously couldn't do that. On stage, it's a completely different experience. Okay, so how do you get around? How do you get around when in Henry V, for instance, when he talks about the Battle of Agincourt, and he says, you know, there's thousands, tens of thousands of Frenchmen. A lot of it is planting that image in your head. So Shakespeare, that's why the stage directions, you know, a lot of Shakespeare's stage directions are in the text. Okay, he's telling you, and then the story is in the text. That's why some of my students, oh, this guy's so long-winded, get to the point. I saw the movie and it was only 2 hours. What's the deal? Because cinema is very visual. It's primarily visual. We can see it. We can tell so much in just a few seconds. On stage, we have to talk about it and create that image, plant it in your head. This next scene is from Henry V. But it is stylized. It's not a traditional Shakespeare scene. We do have advantages of some lighting and some sound here. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the lights in the house. We're going to turn off the lights on stage. And we're going to have a little experience here with some score behind it as well. This is a scene from Henry V. Can I get the house lights off too, please?
There we go. Lovely.
Yes.
I'm all the way out, right?
Disguise fair nature with hard-favored rage. Then lend the eye a terrible aspect. Let it pry through the portage of the head like the brass cannon. That the brow o'erwhelm it as fearfully as doth a gullied rock o'erhang and jutty his confounded base, swilled with the wild and wasteful ocean. Now set the teeth and stretch the nostrils wide. Hold hard the breath and bend up every spirit to his full height. On, you noblest England!
foolish, whose blood is fed from fathers of war-proof. Fathers that, like so many Alexanders, have in these parts from morn till even fought, and sheathed their swords for lack of argument. Dishonor not your mothers. Now attest that those whom you called fathers to beget you be copping out to men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war. And you, good human, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the method of your pasture. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not. For there is none of you so mean in face that hath not noble luster in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slips, reining upon the start. The game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge, cry God for Henry, England and St.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Hooray!
Thank you, actors. Thank you. That's actually that's a technique that's used. It's not something too clever, but it's used a lot. I use that in my class. It's called slow motion samurai, and we usually don't use weapons. We just use our hand as with the edge of the blade there. And it's an exercise we used to also to learn how to take the cut and the death and dying part of the acting. The people want to, a lot of actors, they want to just get through the action part, but the real fun is when you start to get, bloodied up. So that was just some slow motion stylized stuff there. That we were able to do with the lights that we have available to us tonight. But now I want to move on to discuss a little bit of physical comedy. Physical comedy and slapstick is also prevalent. It's not all just big swords swinging around and blood packets and things like that. Physical comedy is just as intriguing, just as grueling as some of the other things you've been watching tonight. There's a scene that I love to do. I love taking to elementary schools and perform for the children. They like it a lot. I hope you do too. For those of you who have read A Midsummer Night's Dream, you know that there is a play within the play. And Bottom and Peter Quince and the Rude Mechanicals, they get together and they perform in front of the Duke this play entitled The Tragical History of Pyramus and Thisbe. So we'd like to do that for you right now. I'm actually going to jump in this one, so give me a sec.
Okay, Quince. Dee, dee, dee.
Gentles, perchance you wonder at this show, but wonder on till truth makes all things plain. This man is Pyramus. If you would know, and this beauteous lady, Thisbe is certain. This man, with lime and rough cast, doth present Wall. That vile wall which did these lovers sunder, and through Wall's chink, poor souls, they are content to whisper. At the which, let no man wonder. This man, with lanthorn, bush of dog and bush of thorn, presented moonshine. For if you will know by moonshine that these lovers think no scorn to meet at Ninnis's tomb, there to woo. This grisly beast, which lion hight by name. The trusty Thisbe, coming first by night, did stare away, or rather did affright. And as she fled, her mantle she did shed, or fall. Which lion, vile with bloody mouth, did stain. which lion vile with bloody mouth did stain. Which vile with bloody mouth did stain. Anon comes Pyramus, sweet youth and tall, and finds his trusty Thisbe's magic slain, whereat, with bloody blameful blade, he bravely broached his boiling, bloody breast. And Thisbe, tarrying in mulberry shade, his dagger drew and died. For all the rest, let lie in moonshine, wall, and lovers twain at large discourse, while here they do remain.
In this same interlude it doth befall that I, one stout by name, present a wall.
Oh, grim-looked night! Oh, night with hue so black! Oh, night whichever art when day is not! Oh, night! Oh, night! Alack! 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 And thou, O wall, O sweet, O lovely wall, that stands between her father's ground and mine. Oh, wall, oh, sweet, oh, lovely wall, show me thy chink to blink through with mine eye. Thanks, courteous wall. But what's the eye? No Thisbe do I see! Oh, wicked wall, through whom I see no bliss! Cursed be thy stones for thus deceiving me! Deceiving me! Deceiving me is Thisbe's cue! She is to enter now! And I am to spy her through the wall. You shall see. Fall pat, as I told you! Oh, yonder she comes.
Oh, wall! Full often thou heard my moans, upon my sweet paleness of me. Often my lips kiss thy stones with lime. And here it up me.
I see a voice. Now will I to the chink to spy, and I can hear my Thisbe's face. Thisbe!
I love thee!
Think what thou wilt. I am thy lover's grace, and like Lamander am I trusty still.
And I like Helen to the fates be killed.
Oh, kiss me through the hole of this vile wall.
I kiss the wall's hole and not your lips at all.
Oh, wilt thou in haste to meet me straight away?
Time life, time death, I come! Without delay!
Thus have I, wall, my part discharged, so and being done, this wall away doth go.
You ladies, whose gentle hearts do fear the smallest monstrous mouse that creep on floor, may now perchance both quake and tremble when lion and wild doth roar. Doth roar!
This lanthorn doth the horned moon present. This lanthorn doth the horned moon present. Myself, the man in the moon, do seem to be. All I have to say is, this lanthorn is the moon. This thorn bush, my thorn bush. This dog, my dog.
This is Old Ninny's tomb, but where is my love?
I thank thee, moon, for shining now so bright. For by thy gracious golden glittering gleams I trust to take of truest Thisbe's sight. But stay, O spite! But mark, poor knight, what dreadful dawn is here! Eyes, do you see? How can it be? Oh, dainty duck, oh dear! Thy mantle good? What? Stained with blood? Oh, wherefore, nature, didst thou lion's frame, since lion vile hath here deflowered my dear, which is, which was the fairest dame that lived, that looked, that liked, that loved with cheer. Oh, come, tears, confound, out sword. Out sword and wound, wound. Ah! Oh. Thus die I, thus, now am I dead, now am I fled. My soul is in the sky. Tongue, lose thy light. Moon, take thy flight. Now, die, 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 asleep, my love? What, dead, my dove? Speak, speak! Quite dumb. Dead, dead! A tongue! Two! Let's cover thy sweet eyes, these yellow cowslip cheeks, this cherry nose. Are gone, gone! Lovers make moan! Moan! All the sisters three, come to me, with hands as pale as milk, and lay them in gore, for thou art sure, with shears, the thread of silk. Tongue, not a word. Come,
Chinese word? Sword!
Come, my breast! My breast and brew! Ah! And so, farewell, friends. Thus this be ends. Adieu! Adieu! Adieu!
If we shadows have offended, think but this and all is mended, that you have just slumbered here while these images did appear. And this weak and idle theme was just a part of a dream. So, if you do wish to mend, good night to all, and to all, a good night.
Not the words. Chris, where'd you go?
Thank you. Where were we? Let's see. I believe we were hearing some Christmas songs from Nick there for a second.
It's my turn.
To all the good night.
Night.
Well, it was close enough. So. Thank you.
Chris,
Now, there's an example how you can get away with.
Chris, stop moving.
Oh, sorry. I'm being filmed. I want to move on to our next scene. We'll get serious again. Stop it. Serious. Okay. We're moving on to our last scene from Romeo and Juliet. This is a scene that is frequently in modern productions of Romeo and Juliet cut. A lot of directors think, who cares about Paris? Nobody cares about Paris. Let's get rid of it. Paris, thank you, somebody read the play. Paris and Romeo actually have a fight at the end. Romeo's trying to get to the tomb of the Capulets, trying to get to Juliet. He wants to be with her at the end when he takes his life. Paris is already there, expressing his love for her. And trouble ensues. Now, for this fight, when I choreographed this fight, I thought, I think this one needs to be short and sweet. It needs to get to the point. We want to get Romeo in the tomb because the audience wants to see him give his big final monologue, see Juliet wake up, see her take her life. Whole romantic star-crossed lovers comes to an end. The Paris fight, though, is interesting because I haven't seen it done a lot. And when I'm reading it, I thought, you know what? I don't know if Romeo would be armed entering Verona again. Remember, he was exiled. He was banished to Mantua. So what I did in this one is I have him coming out, trying to be inconspicuous, trying to conceal his identity, and using a walking stick. He has no arms. He has no sword on me. So Paris does. He has his rapier this time. Sometimes you see this, in modern productions especially, the unorthodox use of particular weapons, weapons that would never really fight one another. Those of you that have ever seen any Highlander film, or any of the TV series, know what I'm talking about. They used that constantly. You would see a rapier, a thin-bladed sword, fight a big broadsword that would practically cut it in half. But it's the story, we escape into it. So hopefully you'll escape into this one. This is, you're going to see two actors that you've seen throughout the evening. Ken Nicholas, he's going to be reprising his role of Romeo that he's been doing for you this evening. Now, we have a little change up on this other role of Paris. The gentleman, Matt Masiello, who you saw playing Mercutio, he's going to take over the role of Paris for this. But he changed his shirt. And in Shakespeare, that's the equivalent of just, I'm hidden.
I'm a completely different...
So we know he's someone else now. Okay, so the last scene from Romeo and Juliet, this is Paris versus Romeo.
Woo!
Sweet flower, with flowers thy bridal bed I strew. Oh woe, thy canopy is dust and stones, which with sweet water nightly I will do, or wanting that, with tears distilled by moans. The aquacies that I for thee will keep, nightly shall be the strew thy praise and weep. What cursed foot wanders this way tonight to cross me aquacies in true love's right? Muffle me, night, a while!
Hold. Take this letter. Early in the morning, see thou deliver it to my lord and father. Upon thy life, I charge thee, do not interrupt me in my course. Therefore, hence, be gone.
I will be gone. I will not trouble you.
So shalt thou show me friendship. Take thou that. Live and be prosperous. Farewell, good fellow. Thou detestable wall, thou womb of death, gorged with the dearest morsel of the earth. Thus I'll enforce thy rotten jaws to open, and in despite I'll cram thee with more food.
This is that banished, haughty Montague that slaying my love's cousin, which, with grief, it is supposed the fair creature died, and here has come to do some villainous shame to the bodies. I will apprehend him. Stop thine hollow toil, vile Montague! Can vengeance be pursued further than death? Condemned villain, I do apprehend thee. Obey and go with me, thee, for thou must die!
I must indeed, and therefore came I hither. Good gentle youth, tempt not a desperate man. Fly hence and leave me. I beseech thee, youth, put not another sin upon my head by urging me with fury. Be gone! Hereafter say, a madman's mercy bade thee run away.
I do defy thy conjurations, and apprehend thee for felon here!
Wilt thou provoke me? Then have at thee, boy.
I'm slain! If thou be merciful, open the tomb and lay me with Juliet.
Faith I will. I'll bury thee in a triumphant grave.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, exactly. What? Pears next to Juliet? Nah. That's why it gets cut so frequently. We're like, nah, what are we doing with this loser? Just get to it. I actually have come to quite like that character in that scene. I think it's a nice scene between those two. And they did a nice job. So you saw a little bit of unorthodoxy there with having a quarterstaff, a 5-foot quarterstaff fighting a single sword. With results that I don't think Paris saw coming. We're going to move now into one of the other very, very famous sword fight scenes from the Shakespearean canon, and in a more traditional manner this time. The final scene of Hamlet, Shakespeare's magnum opus, his longest play, has Hamlet dueling Laertes. Osric comes in and tells him about the duel and the bouts he's going to perform, and it's supposed to be a gentleman's fight. And Hamlet asks him what his weapon is, and Osric says, rapier and dagger, and Hamlet realizes, well, that's 2 of his weapons, but well. So we are going to see a rapier and dagger fight now between Hamlet and Laertes. Now what I've done here is I've excised the other characters. I might throw in Osric's responses to the hits, but we've removed the other dialogue to focus this particular scene on the fight and the tension between Laertes and Hamlet. So we've removed Claudius and Gertrude and the court. So here to perform one of the last fights of the evening, Patrick Birmingham playing Hamlet, and Ken Nicholas returning to the stage again very quickly as Laertes in a traditional rapier and dagger duel.
Come, sir. Come, my lord.
One! No! Judgment!
A hit! A very palpable hit!
Again.
Another one, say you!
A touch, I do confess.
Come, Laertes. You do but dally. I fear you should make a wanton of me.
Say you so.
Thank you, gentlemen. Hamlet and Laertes. He used the rag to poison the tip, for those of you not quite following that because of the edits in the text that we made. We have one last scene for you this evening. I want to go back and talk about your physical comedy again. Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it, Midsummer? We'll go back to we'll do a little comedy for you to wrap up the evening today. Just one more scene. My physical acting class, we don't just do sword fighting, like you see. Especially if we do the unarmed stuff, it's not just serious fights. There's also some funny stuff. Now, this next scene you're going to see, I threw in because I do this all over. It's another scene that I take to the elementary schools, and the kids seem to love it. This is not only physical slapstick, but it's also parody. Okay, so they're having a little fun with Shakespeare in this one. This isn't traditional Shakespeare. This one is based on Romeo and Juliet. It seems like a Romeo and Juliet evening. How can we not round it out? Except what Patrick and Nick and, oh, I guess I'll jump in on this one as well, are going to do is do the entire play of Romeo and Juliet for you in just a couple of minutes.
Yes!
Do you think it can be done?
Yes!
Do you think? Well, we're going to find out. So, This is a scene that we've done. It's part of the complete works of William Shakespeare Abridged. Some of you may have seen it. That's a 90-minute production that encapsulates all of Shakespeare's works, his plays, poems, and sonnets into 90 minutes. And I have absolutely got to know what's going on down front, Ronald. What is that, dude? Because you guys are laughing so hard I can't even hear myself think.
Right?
Yeah. What is going on, Rudy? Go ask him, Rudy. Come on. So one more scene for you guys. Hang in there, those of you guys that have just been tortured, told to go here for your grades for acting classes. I know, it's been so rough on you.
Yay, Patty!
That's a ringer. That's one of my guys up there. Okay, so this is from the complete works of William Shakespeare. This is something Rockland Shakespeare Company we've done outside. We've done it on this stage many times. We'll do an abridged version because we're only going to do one scene from it. But it is the complete it's the complete play of Romeo and Juliet in just a few minutes. So without further ado, let's do that.
Costume changes.
It's Liz!
Go ahead.
What are you doing? Shut up.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. One man in his time plays many parts. How true, how true. Ladies and gentlemen, where better to begin our exploration of the greatest of all English playwrights than in Verona, Italy, with one of his most beloved plays, Romeo and Juliet. Now, it would be impossible for us to portray all the characters in Romeo and Juliet with just 3 actors. So, that's why we're going to use 2. That's right. Patrick and Nick will be attempting to portray all the major characters in Romeo and Juliet while I fill in with bits of narration. Now, after extensive textual research and analysis, we have decided to begin our abbreviated version of Romeo and Juliet with the prologue.
Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge, break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these 2 foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventures, piteous o'erthrows, does with their death bury their parents' strife. Thank you.
Act 1, Scene 1. In the street meet 2 men, tall and handsome. The one Benvolio, the other named Samson. Their hatred fueled by an ancient feud. For one serves Capulet, the other Montague.
Oh, I like to rise when sun she rises early in the morning.
Oh, I had a little Oh, it's him. It's him. His daughter, his family.
Do you bite your thumb at me, sir?
No, sir, I do but bite my thumb.
Do you bite your thumb at me, sir?
No, sir, I do bite my thumb, but not at you, sir. Do you quarrel, sir?
Quarrel, sir? No, sir.
As if you do, I am for you, sir. I serve as good a man as you.
Psh, no better.
That's better.
You lie!